The best part about Amazon Prime Video is that literally anybody can upload their films to it, so I'll always have content to make. So Santa Jaws is a movie where a boy gets a magical pen and then accidentally kills his entire family. The movie starts out real fast with our main character Casey saving his wife or girlfriend or something from an evil version of Santa Claus. And I gotta say, this is my favorite version of Santa Claus I've ever seen. He and Santa get into this really intense climactic fight, which ends with him kicking him off the dock into the water. Is that spray tan coming off of Santa? The shark comes out of nowhere, eats him, and puts on his hat. And this begins the story of Santa Jaws, which I think is a pretty killer origin story. Oh, they did the dream thing. I like this movie a little less now. It turns out that what we just saw was a comic named Santa Jaws, made by our main character, Cody. He's your run-of-the-mill, pasty, brown-haired nerd, which I feel like is a stereotype that's just not done enough in movies. That was sarcasm, I feel like I have to be clear. We cut to Cody's home just as his extended family arrives, and this is when we get introduced to all of the other stereotypes, main characters. This includes the generic businessman, Uncle Mike, his social media-obsessed wife, Georgia.
Oh, model. For whom?
Snapstagram?
And most importantly, Josh, his athletic brother with no other discernible character traits.
You're grounded. For a week.
It's the eve of Christmas Eve, and Cody gets grounded for drawing a comic satirizing the enforcement of uniforms at his school. This means he's not allowed to go to the annual community dinner that his family throws. But he doesn't want to go to it anyway, so it's not really a punishment? You messed up, son, and now you don't have to go to the thing that we were gonna drag you to. Oh, man! Not that it matters, because his grandpa's gonna take him fishing the next morning, so Cody's grandpa tries to cheer him up by giving him an early Christmas gift of literally the most powerful pen in existence. Which I guess he just kind of had sitting around collecting dust, even though it can literally print money, but that's a spoiler. You're not supposed to know about that yet. So Cody takes the pen and draws an outline over the Santa Jaws sketch. And then wouldn't you know it, Santa Jaws appears in the nearest body of water. Grandpa Joe, no relation to this guy, says, screw that whole grounded thing. I'm gonna take you on our annual fishing trip. You know, the one I take you on so that I don't have to help my daughter help the poor. While they're fishing, Cody's beating himself up because he can't stop embarrassing himself in front of the girl that he likes. And then, like the klutz he is, he drops Grandpa Joe's homemade eggnog in the lake. Come on, dude. He made it himself. This is where we get our first piece of lore about Santa Jaws, because it goes straight for the scent of eggnog and gobbles up Grandpa Joe. And it's just a shame that she eats the wrong one. That's right, I said she. Now I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, and I really want you to try and pay attention to this.
You're a monster. You should probably get the pronoun right. Santa Jaws is a she. Born to run, she was attacked by the other sharks in a frenzy. She was attacked by the other sharks in a frenzy. By becoming the fastest and most evil Santa. She gained evil Santa. She gained Can you stop?
It's such a bad info dump that they even knew that what they were trying to spice it up with was bad. Of course, Cody tries to tell his family that Grandpa Joe was eaten by a shark, but nobody believes him, even though, as far as we know, he doesn't have a history of lying. This is just one of those things that's so dumb to not believe him about.
A shark attacked Papa.
Cody, don't make things up.
Do I need to go inside and wake him up?
Yes, go look for yourself.
Don't be ridiculous.
So they just leave him at home, and then we get the pacing scene, you know, the one where he's walking back and forth and trying to figure out, it's his responsibility to stop the shark, even though it's not really his responsibility. He didn't know this was gonna happen. So he scribbles a note, literally scribbles it, and then just leaves for where else? The comic shop.
It's like your own personal ice bucket challenge.
Nothing quite dates your movie like having an ice bucket challenge joke in it.
You think it's Santa Jaws?
Of course they believe him because they're nerds, and nerds. We like comic books and fantasy, and so we must believe that it's real. It turns out the shop owner, Clark, sold the only copy of Santa Jaws to who else but Cody's crush, Jenna. So they figured they have to go to her place and get it back, because I guess Cody knows where she lives. You might say that, of course he does. They're neighbors. They saw each other in the earlier scene, but this reverse doesn't match this reverse. So they had to have tracked her down. Something that doesn't seem to startle her in the slightest. And then when they ask for the comic book back, she's like, yeah, I paid good money for this, but I'm happy to give it back to you since you made it. Except that she doesn't actually have it. She left it on her dad's boat. And gee, isn't that a problem that we've all had before? Then she offers to take our characters with her to go get it. Meanwhile, Uncle Mike and Georgia are fixing up their yacht.
Not a yacht.
Oh, sorry, my bad. She's taking her billionth selfie of the day, and Santa Jaws happens to show up in the background of one of her pictures, which gives them the opportunity to do the
God. My pores look terrible.
joke. She doesn't actually see the thing in the back of her. Because why write your own jokes when all the easiest ones have already been written. So Mike gets eaten, but she gets away because she's in a bikini, and we have to have something interesting to look at in the movie. God forbid the story be interesting enough to keep your eyes on the screen. So she runs to Cody's family and tells them about what happened to Mike. So the parents go to investigate all that while they tell Josh to take care of Georgia and take her home, which would be the rational decision, but no, they decide to go to the comic shop.
Where?
If I know anything about Cody, the comic book shop.
They say it's because Cody's probably there, but isn't he grounded? Why would he be at the comic shop?
You need to call the police.
This movie strays away from a lot of other horror movies because they actually talk about calling the cops, but Cody is so bent on taking down Santa Jaws himself without any help except from the barely qualified.
If we don't stand up to our fears now, we'll never stop running.
Which is like a really good idea because there's an evil shark in the water. Like the safest place to be is away from it. That's something to run away from. But instead the shopkeeper's like, no, don't worry about it, guys. I got weapons. And by weapons, I mean like LARP foam weapons. The parents go to check out the boat and then they see the legendary beast with their very own eyes.
No. Cody was telling the truth?
Oh no, my son wasn't lying? You mean I have to apologize? Now's when they learn that the pen is magic. And how, you might ask? Well, Jenna can read German. Because duh. And then they just happen to drop the pen on the floor just as they're leaving. But like, how are you gonna forget the pen that makes you a literal god? They summon Santa Jaws with, I'm guessing, some copyrighted Christmas music, and they throw a spear at it and shoot some crossbows at it. But that doesn't work because why would it? I like to imagine a crew member just kind of like meekly throwing the arrows at the water because that's totally what this looks like. And then it whips its tail and lassos Georgia with a string of Christmas lights and pulls her into the water and kills her, but not before she stabs it in the eye with a pointy candy cane, because as we're about to learn, only Christmas-themed things can hurt it. Steve and Josh go looking for explosives in a shed, and they have this conversation about how everybody's kind of a stereotype of themselves, which I just feel like was the writer trying to justify why all of the characters are one-dimensional. But hey, they got explosives. Like a lot of them. Just kind of hanging out in the shed for some reason. And so they try again, but this time they put some explosives in the ornaments and they wrap some Christmas lights around a spear because apparently that makes it work. And to my sincere surprise, it works. But not good enough because Steve just gets completely bodied. This next scene is my favorite in the entire movie. Cody's parents come rushing into the comic shop with a gun, and they're like, where's my son? And at first, Clark's no narc, but like a good mother, she points it at him and immediately he's like, I'm done, I'm not doing this. And even the parents are like, what is wrong with you? You let kids chase after an evil shark? 10 out of 10, best scene in the whole movie. But you know what that means? It's all downhill from here. Our small cast of remaining heroes go to the comic shop to try and get the pen back, and let me tell you, something's a little hokey here. Clark suddenly has a hot Russian girlfriend that doesn't speak any words at all. He also has an awesome car that we see for all of 2 seconds. Oh, and remember, a ton of money. But no, he hasn't seen the pen. No idea where it is, actually. So naturally, he runs away. I'm pretty sure this body of water is a lake, which just makes the fact that he's trying to get away via boat even funnier. Like, where are you gonna go, bud? They literally caught up to you on bikes. The tone of this whole chase is so totally different from the rest of the movie. It's all cute and whimsical. Like, did they forget that they just killed like half the cast? Anyway, Clark's like the only person that realizes how powerful this pen is, and I'm really glad they did that because I would have just gone crazy wondering to myself what the limits of this are. Wow, they're like killing everybody, huh? This movie's got bells. Now that Josh and Cody have the pen again, they do what they should have done in the first place and use that to kill the shark. Except they're not like smart about it. They do the thing where they make it stronger by giving it a horn and sharper teeth, I guess. That's not ever really clarified.
Should just stay away from the water.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. Stay away from the water, call some professionals, and then you get to walk away with your life.
This thing is going after our family.
Except it's not. You're actively getting as close to it as you can. That'd be like if I continued to hop over the fence at the lion exhibit at the zoo and was like, the lions are getting me! With the family finally reunited, they work on a plan to kill Santa Jaws. But this is the problem with having an all-powerful pen, is that it raises an infinite number of questions, like, why not just draw a weapon specifically designed to kill Santa Jaws? Why would you waste time building an exploding chicken catapult when you could just draw it? Why even make this movie? They summon Santa Jaws with Christmas music again and then waste all 3 of their shots? And again, like, why not just draw more chickens? But don't worry, because Josh plays baseball, he's gonna hop the fence and throw it. Which goes about as well as it possibly could have. I'm I'm not a dad, so maybe I'm missing something here, but like, he's dead? Why? What's the plan here? Even he seems to realize that he made a huge mistake by hopping in the water. I would have loved it if at this point Cody and the mom were like, well, we did everything that we could. I guess it wins. Well, what more could we possibly do? Let's call animal control and go to Shakey's or something. When Cody finally does realize the pen's power, his mom like chucks it away, and then he guilts her into going back and getting it, and then he'll never guess what happens. He decides that whoever kills Santa Claus gets to make a wish and wish for whatever they want, and then he burns the comic as if he knows it's going to work, because it does, and it rids the world of Santa Claus. But a couple things. First, that's not the original piece of paper that he used to bring Santa Claus to life on. So how does it affect her at all? Does the pen's magic just immediately connect all drawings of something to its concept? Also, if burning the paper gets rid of Santa Claus, why does it keep the rule that he just made? Shouldn't it destroy the concept of the prize for killing Santa Claus? And if that's the case, couldn't he have just written Santa Claus dies of a heart attack like on a death note, and then written his family back into existence the same way? Anyway, Santa Claus explodes and knocks him out. Then he wakes up the next day. It's Christmas Day, and everybody's alive again. He brought his family all back to life. Or was it a dream? Because they're all talking about how well the community dinner went, and no one has any recollection of the things that happened yesterday. I'm gonna hope that it was his wish being granted, because I don't want to believe that they did the dream thing twice. I don't think anybody's that lazy. My last thought is that he specifically wishes to bring his family back to life, and then Jenna's alive. But Steve isn't, as far as we know. We don't get any confirmation on that, so I'm gonna let you sit on that for a little bit.